If you take a snapshot of yourself, it's called a selfie. You could be smiling, having a good time, and people will think, oh, this person has really got it all together. But all they have is a snapshot of your life at that moment. You might be going through hell, but the snapshot says different. What is belief?
You can do it. Don't stop. Ed Montgomery. Come on. A new way of thinking. Transform your mind. Straight from the vine. Fresh new wine.
Welcome to Fresh New Wine. I am your host, Ed Montgomery, aka Dr. Ed. Thank you for joining us. Also, I am your host for Sunday Sessions, Sensational Sunday, which airs at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here where you are watching this. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being with us. And I really appreciate your time. Make sure you hit that like button right now so we can get those algorithms going very quickly. We can do this right now. Hit it, go ahead. Yeah, but do I need to know if I like it? Come on, hit the like button. Appreciate it. Let me dig into this. I I'm not going to call it a bad habit, but I have a tendency to look at things around me, looking at things in patterns, seeing something over here happening, over there, down. And you look at all of it and take it all together, and you begin to see a pattern. And you ask yourself the question, am I the only one seeing this? Are other people seeing this happening around them? I know I'm not the only one, but doesn't it look as if our world is changing drastically just within the last 2 to 3 months? Right. Blame it on Washington, blame it on the global tariffs, blame it on anything you want. But our world seems to be changing. And not just the world outside of us, not just what's happening on the planet or other nations or other countries, but something is changing right in our world, right in our United States of America, right in our country, in our state, in our city. And listen, there are things that are changing in what I call our world because all of us have our own world. I'll never forget, I was very young in ministry and we were so gun-ho that we were just going out there and we're going to get the world saved. We're going to save the world. But we got out there and started realizing how big this world is. So, I don't know, did I lose my camera? Oh, okay. I thought I lost everybody. But I realized how big this world is. And then I realized that it's not about how we affect the world, the planet, but it's how we affect the world that we live in, the world you live in, the family around you, the friendships around you, the relationships around you, your job, where you work, how you work, your education, what happens inside of your life. In other words, how I think can change my world around me. You know, we are tripart, something I've been teaching for over 45 years. We're tripart. We're body, we're soul, spirit. We're body, psychic or psyche. Mind is where we get psychology from. And we are spiritual beings. Physical, of course, we got our five senses in our physical. In that psyche area, that mind or that soul, I think I look at it about maybe about 6 areas. I think we have mind, how we think. our choice, will. We have those three. We have the emotions, how we are affectionate to ourselves, how we are affectionate to other people. These are things that how we relate. Then, of course, we've got your spirit, that heart, what we call our heart. When we hear the words, let not your heart be troubled, or let not your spirit be troubled, because in the heart is where our divinity is, that spark of who and what we are, that God spark in us. It is here that our faith is. It is here where our prayer life, our ability to meditate, our ability to focus, our ability to communicate not only with who we call God, but also to commune with that God. So some people think it's 15 or senses, but it could be 17. It could almost be 20. But this is part of what happens when we are born. Genesis chapter 1 talks about, and God made man or mankind in his image and his likeness. And he says, let us make man in our image and likeness. And God created man, male and female created he them. So it's interesting that man is not merely a male or physically gender wise male man. In other words, with the physics of a physical gender of a male, but it says man or mankind is male and female, or a man and a woman. Woman means one man, woe man, a man with a womb. So God created man, the man, and also a man with a womb. So you're looking at the same. But in Genesis chapter 2, it goes on, I believe around verse 7. It goes on and it speaks, and God breathed, formed a man from the dust of the earth. Now, when we hear these kind of stories, we have a tendency to, when we take things so literally, this is the only creation story ever. No, there were many creation stories. There is creation stories that took place even before the writing of the Old Testament. The Old Testament was not the only writing that talks about spiritual things. You do know that, right? That Judaism was not just some inspired idea that they just picked up and started it. They picked it up from somewhere. They learned from their parents or their grandparents. They may have deviated from some teachings, but they learned from it, just as part of the New Testament. When we read the New Testament, it carries over from Jesus's original religion, Judaism. Jesus was not a Christian. Jesus was a Jew. Judaism. Mohammed was not a Muslim. Mohammed was a Christian. It began there and then began to branch off into these areas. So our teaching about things began in some other cultures. Many of the teachings of Judaism we discover came from teachings that came out of Egypt, right out of Africa. Things that we never heard before. It may not be the religion of Judaism, but these ideas and concepts came out. Even out of Greece, ideas of ecclesia or church came out of Greece. It came out of understanding policies and and all of these different ways in which we relate. Our democracy and all things are saying it comes out of Greece and different places like that. Bottom line is, we have to understand that this is a long history. So when we go in and we say, and God formed man from the dust of the earth, there are many stories that come like that. But this is the one we use. This is the one we take because this is how I see things. This is how many of you see things. Some of you see things differently. Belief, to say this is what I believe, is to take a snapshot of you right now. Click. or a snapshot of your thinking right now. But after listening to teaching, and somebody teach on something tomorrow or next week or next month or next year, guess what happens? What you think or what you thought when they took that snapshot of your thinking could be changing because the teaching is now making more sense. It's like saying, where's the sun? 93 million miles away from the earth. How do you know that? Well, I know that. It's 93 million, 93, is it 93 million miles? No, you do not know that. Somebody told you that. Have you done the calculation? Have you done the math? Have you searched and figured out how to calculate that? No. And we can't do that anyway because if we keep going back to try to research everything we learn as a human race, we would never ever accumulate or accomplish anything. We would always be going back trying to reprove this and reprove that and reprove this. So somewhere you got to believe somebody. Belief is teaching, not accepting something as true blindly. Somebody said, do you believe in Jesus Christ? When you say, do I believe in Jesus Christ? What has happened is I believe comes from it's a Greek word, which means teaching, to trust something, to hear something, to learn about something, to intake something. As we learn about this being that we call God, because we don't know what God is, as we hear the teachings of Jesus, then we learn things about Jesus. So when you ask me, what do I believe? Well, actually, I'm not going to say I believe this, and this, because we like to put ourselves in those little compartments. What I will say is I'm a follower of Jesus Christ and his teachings, which means these things change over time. What my belief is right now, or the teaching that I have right now, may be different next week. Well, there's some core things that I accept as my life's truths and my particular values, my moral compass. But there are things that are going to change next week, next month. There's some things that may take 10 years that I have to come into a realization about. And we're understanding that it is all right to do it. Look around you at how our world is changing. Look at what's happening in Washington and how this blend of religion and politics has just come. I don't want to even say congruent because that means that it matches, but it just is gravitated to each other so much that it's almost grotesque. And we hear people who are dealing with their religion and they're talking about, we need to love Jesus Christ and I care about the love of Jesus Christ in my life and people need to get saved and we want to reach the world for Jesus Christ. And all of these things sound so good. And I look back and how they sounded so wonderful because we want to share God's love with everybody. If God has loved us and we begin to love ourselves because God first loved us, and we begin to self-love ourselves because you can't really love other people until you learn to love yourself. If that's true, then one of the things that I want to discover is how can you love somebody or love God whom you've never seen and hate your brother that you see every day? It's one of our scriptures. I look at things and I wonder about how can you claim to be God people and throw millions of people off of health care, or messing with people's social security, or shipping people off on a plane without what we call in our country due process. You're saying, well, Dr. Ed, now you're getting into politics. That's all political. But there are people who believe what's happening right now is part of the Christian, part of creating that Christian nation that's going to make this America better. And so I'm having some real thought issues here. And there's one major issue that I'm really having a problem with. And I shouldn't say a problem, but it's making me rethink some things. Look, let me say thank you to all of you. It's been so hot out here in Texas. Thank you to all of you who have helped to make what we do possible. I I believe, and that's what I believe right now. That snapshot is to help people to understand that just because things are going on in this world that's crazy and that's affecting people's lives financially, health wise, and everything, that it's going to stay this way. We cannot go through life believing it's going to stay this way. There's not only has to be hope, but we also have to have teaching that we will prevail through all of this. Just because something looks Christian or whatever, that's not necessarily true. We got to be able to speak to these things, say something, push back, change some things. We're not trying to hurt people, but what we're trying to do is help people to realize life is not over. Don't give up. And that's what you do every time you make a contribution here. We leave people with that thought. Don't give up. Don't let this go. So thank you for what you do when you give. And when you hit that text to give, 713-742-2035. Thank you for it. Let me see you, because I can't see it on this particular show, but I can see it later on the computer, and I blow up your name. When I say blow it up, I have to, my eyesight, I can't see it in that little bitty writing. So when you see me do like this, what I'm doing is it's my movement on my iPad, and I do this, tap, tap, blow, and it blows it up, and I'm able to see. So I'm able to see your name, and I'm always grateful when I hear and see your support. Thank you. I hear from people all the time and say, listen, we still support, although we're not there. You may not see us during Sensational Sunday or live during what we call a Sunday service or a Sunday session, but you're supporting and you're keeping everything moving. Thank you so much. I hear about you, and I will never forget how you have helped me over the years to do what you do. Listen, here's what's been bugging me. Here's what's been getting to me. I believe that there's some things about religion that needs to be, I'm not going to say changed, updated. I believe there needs to be a software update on religion. People are switching government, they're changing government, we're upsetting the status quo, and we're upsetting the financial aspects of things, and we're changing business. Maybe we need to look again at our spirituality, at our religion. One of the things that we believe, and some of the things that we hold dear, and we say we believe, and maybe we need to think about, what do I believe about that? One of the things I talked about, and I've always talked about it, whether we believe of a God that sits in a chair in the sky, or do we believe in a God that lives inside of us? There's a big difference. As long as you only believe a God that sits up in the sky, that means humans can always control how that God moves, because they can get their fingers in time and space and claim they speak for God. But when God lives in you, that can't be changed. What do I believe? What is it that I believe? What is the teaching? There's several things we can be taught. We can be taught like that, Or maybe we can be taught that God lives in every single one of us. That spark of the divine is in all of us, waiting to be developed. And God breathed into man, or mankind, the breath of life. And mankind became a living soul, a living mind, a soul, a living mind, living choices, a living will, living emotions, living affections, a love for yourself as well as a love for others. Where did we lose that teaching that love your neighbor as yourself? You can't fully love your neighbor until you learn to love yourself. Maybe some of our religion has to change. How many preachers have you seen that have come together and said, there's some things that I don't think this Bible is really teaching? What are some of the things that we might be able to shift to change? Number one, how we see God. Number two, how we see each other. As a matter of fact, I think we're going to talk about that in this next session of Fresh New Wine. Look, I'll see you in another 6 days. We'll be right back at this. The word this year is bold. I talk to people and they say, you know what, Dr. Ed, I meet a lot of people who say, I'm an educated person, but they talk to me and tell me, you keep flaunting your education, keep using all those big words. Or a person may say they don't like the way I talk, or they don't like the way I look, or they don't like the way I dress. Or, just a lot of things that people will tell other people what they don't like about them. But you know what I'm going to say to you? Sometimes you got to get to a place in your life that you got to get bold about who you are. Now, that doesn't mean you don't make changes. Hey, check an image consultant out. Hey, go online, see what the latest fashions are. Leaf through a magazine. Check some things out. Learn how to talk about things. Take some voice lessons. Do whatever you want to. Make some changes this year. But once you make those changes, let it be you that makes those changes. And once you're satisfied with you, then be the most extraordinary you can ever be. That's what I'm teaching on all this year. It's talking about the extraordinary I, the power of that true I of who you are. So take a moment and emphasize it, because giving makes a difference. When you connect your giving with who you are, it reinforces the power of who you are. That's right. It's not just saying, oh, I'm a nice person. You got to give something. When you give something away, whether it's a smile, whether it's a conversation, whether it's a pat on the back, it reinforces it. I want you to take a moment, make a contribution to what we're doing. I don't know what the amount is that's in your mind, but choose one. Might be $8, might be $10, whatever it is. Do it now. You can do it on your text to give 713-742-2035. But whatever you do it now, right now. We would be so eternally grateful, and it would make me happy. Thank you so much. I appreciate exactly everything that you're doing. Be bold. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash it, crash it. Let us know you're there.